My name is Brian Mackey. I'm from Bozeman, Montana, and I actually right now make a living building stuff out of antlers. So I got into this a long time ago. I love to hike in the woods and pick up antlers, and then I started building things with them, and over the years I've kind of made it into a career. There's been ups and downs, but now I do it full time. I call myself fun employed because I get to make things, and it doesn't get much more fun than that. So I'm going to show you a quick video to get you, kind of shows what I do to, or just how I find antlers in the woods. And then from there we'll talk about how I made it into a career. So let me push a button here and we'll get rolling. All right, so does that look like fun? Believe me, that brings back a lot of memories. So that, so you know, deer and elk, as you probably know, they shed their antlers every year, and they grow a new set. So it's like the ultimate renewable resource that every year, you know, there's going to be another pair of antlers laying up there to find. So, and then, you know, making them into different things is what I do. As far as careers go, basically I'm an artist, which is a fun career but tough. It's, but it's like anything, you know, you guys probably all are, you know, what do I want to be when I grow up? Well, an artist is a great thing to be, except it's a hard way to make a living, but you've got to be, you know, good at it, and it takes a lot of practice. But the biggest point I'd like to make, I guess, for being in a career is you have to have a passion for this. I have a passion for picking up antlers and being in the woods, and that grew into, you know, making stuff with antlers. But then, you know, it's still a hard way to make a living, but you just got to work at it. And it's like anything else in life. If you want to be good at it, you got to work at it, put a lot of time into it. And then things are going to change, and you may have to do something else for a while. But because I've done this part-time and full-time at different times in my life, and then the art market gets challenging, and you have to go into something else. But I think it's like anything else you do in your career. You have to, if you're passionate about it, you can be what you want. So a lot of options for you guys out there, especially in wildlife. There's, you know, you can be a biologist, a regular artist, bronze, you know, painting, whatever you want to do. But I chose the antler, and it's worked out for me. I'll show you a couple things I make just to give you an idea of what you can do. Didn't bring anything big along, but I just brought a pair of like salt and pepper shakers. This is just a slice of an elk antler. I hollow it out. I put some walnut on top of it, and drill some holes in it. Just something really simple, but I sell these for like $80, and they don't take me very long to make, and they're really a beautiful little way to display some antler. And I also brought a couple bottle openers along, something really simple, just a piece of antler that I put a metal bottle opener I actually designed myself and had cut with a laser cutter. Here's a cute little bottle opener made out of an antelope horn that just glued this in, put some walnut in the bottom, and made a neat little bottle opener out. So, you know, it's just simple things you can make, and I make great big chandeliers and tables and lamps, and wide variety of things like that. So it's kind of fun that the different they're just endless possibilities what you can make. I can do almost any kind of furniture with antler. So anybody have any questions? Yes.
So where are some of the best places you would recommend for finding these antlers? What kind of habitat?
Usually, bulls, so let's talk elk for a second. Bulls like to go to more remote places to winter. They stay on winter ranges, but if you see like a herd of cows, the bulls generally will be higher up in the hills and further away. They kind of tend to be loners in the winter. They'll hang out in groups of a couple elk up to 10 or 20, but they're in a little bit more rugged places. And deer are the same way. The does tend to congregate, lower areas where the bucks will stay up high on some ridges. So, and they start shedding right now. I actually found a whitetail antler in my yard the other day. A nice buck coming through, hitting the bird feeders, and he left an antler for me, which was really cool. But yeah, as far as looking for antlers, the deer do come down to lower areas in the winter, and then they, but the bucks will be a little bit higher, and you just got to spend a lot of time in the hills, walk around and look for sign, tracks, rubs on trees and things like that. And I've actually found a really nice antler just out. I used to work at Patagonia here in Reno, and just up from the warehouse off of 4th Street, up in those hills there, I've found some really nice mule deer antlers. So it basically takes time just getting out in the hills and walking around. And once you start finding where antlers are, they'll usually be there year after year. So it's kind of neat that way. So, yes?
On a good day, how many sheds do you typically find?
A good day is finding an antler. So I've had really good days like the beginning of that where I found a half a dozen, which I think my best day was like over 10 antlers and, very heavy pack. But, I consider it a good day. Actually, a good day is just getting out in the hill, hiking around. Just you see so much. You see birds. I find, winter kill. You find, you see wolf tracks, bear tracks. At least in my country, But yeah, and finding an antler is a bonus. So, but I usually do, I consider one antler a good day.
How far are you walking?
Typically anywhere from 5 to 10 miles. So, yeah, you put in. What's that?
Is that coming back?
No, that can be, that's like a total. But my country up in Montana is fairly steep in some places. Although when I'm looking for deer antlers, it's more just up and down, and you can easily cover 5 miles, if not 10, in a good day's hike. So, over here.
Where do you sell your antler makings?
I do shows like this. I do the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation also has a banquet or a show like this, and then I do some farmers markets in Bozeman, and then also a website. I have a website. That's another thing I kind of want to cover too. If you guys looking for careers, that with the internet, you've got a worldwide audience. So I mean, when I was first starting out, I basically had to show people my stuff and do a show and sell it that way. Where now you can go online, and I can have a buyer, across the country or anywhere, look it up online and order something from me. So it gives you kids have really good opportunities as far as being artists or doing whatever you want to do. The world is basically right at your fingertips. So it does make it, for marketing and possibilities of selling things, it helps out a lot. More questions? Over here. Probably a big chandelier. It's probably 7 foot diameter and 6 to 7 feet tall. Probably had, dozen antlers. What's that? I probably had, I think I had 15 antlers into this, and it had like 18 lights on it. Yeah, pretty big.
So are there particular like antlers from certain animals that you use for certain things that you use, like depending on like the structure?
Yep, exactly. Elk antler, the nice thing elk and deer are very symmetrical. Like a typical elk point or elk antler has 6 points on it, has a certain shape. So I've learned how to put those together. And a big mule deer has, typically 4 points or 5, counting the brow tine. So I've learned that, there's certain things I make with certain antlers. And like moose antlers are fun because they're a unique paddle, but they make a beautiful table lamp. I love making lamps. And they also make really nice tables, like a coffee table I make out of moose. So yeah, every antler I kind of have a design for. And then every antler is also unique in itself because no two are really the same. So that's kind of a neat part of it. Back there. My best what? My best day? Oh, I've made so many different things that, they all come out. I make a floor lamp out of elk antler. I've got one in my booth over there if you guys get a chance to walk around in booth 573 out on the floor. But that's one of my signature pieces. It really shows off. I use 2 big antlers and then a smaller antler to form the base, but it's kind of something I've been making for years, and every one of them just comes out really beautiful, and so I really enjoy making those. But it's fun doing custom stuff for people too that bring me their antlers, and I make things. So that's kind of a fun thing to do, and it's challenging also. So, more questions? We're here.
Do you ever use resin?
Use what?
Resin.
Not really. I've made some sheep horn stuff that, since sheep don't shed their horns, I had a guy that was making some resin horns for me, and I was making lamps and some sconces and things with sheep. And I did mold a set of sheep horns. I do want to do some resin with sheep since they don't shed, and it's hard to come by their horns. So I am working on doing a little bit of resin with that, but not with deer and elk, because deer and elk are pretty plentiful.
That's pretty cool.
Thanks.
How did you get into making stuff out of
I did a little bit of taxidermy when I was younger, and I saw another guy in Bozeman who was making some stuff. I actually did some taxidermy for him, and I thought, I can do that. And I started playing with it, because I used to just pick antlers and then just sell them, because you basically sell them by the pound, and boy, I wish I could have all those back that I sold over the years. But I just got into making things, and now I buy them from people. So I'm like one of those buyers, because I find maybe 5% of the antlers I use. Most of them I buy from other pickers, that other people that get out in the hills.
Do you go on the hill every single day or every single weekend?
That's a really good question. I get out as much as I can. It still seems like it's not every weekend, because I do have a wife and kids, and they're grown, but I have a grandkid, and so life gets you busy. And I wish I could go hike, a couple times a week, but it doesn't happen that way. But I do get out enough to, keep me happy and have a good time in the hills.
So what tools do you use to make them?
Oh, that's a very good question. There's basic tools, a drill, a few different drill bits. I use some, it's called Bondo. It's like an epoxy type putty and joining antlers together with a threaded rod. Then I also use basically the smaller stuff I can screw together with sheetrock screws. And then you need a Dremel tool to cut the sheetrock screws off and you patch the holes. And there's some putty you use to patch the holes so it covers up, so you can't see any of that. But it's just basic tools. I've got a bandsaw for cutting antlers, but basically, a saw, drill, and a few sculpting tools, and that's about all it takes. Oh, go ahead.
Did you make any money?
Do I?
Did you make any money from your stuff and food?
Yeah. It is. I do make a lot of money at times, but there is a lot of expenses traveling around and but I do make pretty good money at it. So it's, right now it's a good career. There has been times though when the art market is after 9/11, I had to get a real job because nobody was buying any art. So I went back to work for, another like 14 years for somebody else part-time. But I've always done the antler stuff as a hobby, and then a couple times I've jumped into it full-time and then gone back to it as a hobby. And now I'm kind of at a place in my life where I'm not quite retired, but I'm fun employed. So I just need to make a little bit of money and have some fun, and things are good. But yeah, it's a great career.
When is like the prime time to find antlers?
Basically, in my country, even down here, white-tailed deer are shedding right now. They're starting, and they'll shed through March. Mule deer start in late February or mid to late February, and then it'll be, February and March. And elk in our country start losing their antlers in mid-March, all through April and into May. And moose actually have started shedding right now also already. So, yes.
So what do you do when it's like not, when deer aren't shedding, like when it's a different season?
That's when I build stuff. Or go skiing or play hockey or over here.
What's your most expensive piece?
Probably the big chandelier. I think the biggest one I did sold for $8,500 or something like that. And actually I put a bid in for somebody who wants a Christmas tree out of antlers, and a lot of antlers, and it's going to be big, and it's going to be about $30,000. So yeah, I don't know if I'll get that job or not, but it'd be kind of fun to build. So we'll see. Yes.
Is there a type of antler that you use more often, or an antler that you prefer to use?
Elk and deer, what I use most of the time. I like moose aren't as, there's not as many moose out there as I'm trying to say, I guess, but pretty much elk and mule deer, white-tailed deer is what I basically use. So.
What was the first thing you made?
A coffee table. Yep, I still remember it. I was working at Patagonia at the time and just kind of dabbling in things, and I had a guy there that said, "Can you make me a coffee table?" I'm like, "Sure." So I did.
What was the biggest piece you have made so far?
That was probably a big chandelier that, like 7-foot diameter, and it was actually probably 6 to 7 feet tall, that kind of thing.
What was the hardest thing you made?
That's a good question. I did actually a big chandelier with fans in it one time. That was a lot of work, and it was big. And to incorporate a fan inside a ring of antlers and all that was fairly difficult. But it actually did come out really nice and worked good. So.
What's your favorite?
My favorite what?
Like, what's your favorite piece to make?
I do a lot of lamps, and lately I've been making a lot of candle holders. Just hooking, a few antlers together in a kind of a nice flowing pattern, and but actually, I love it. It's all fun to put together and design and that kind of thing. So, the least favorite? I don't think I have a least favorite. Some are more work than others, but it's all fun, and it's once you kind of get working with antler, you figure out how to put it together and what you can do and what you can't do with it. So it's all fun. How about you?
Have you ever made like a knife or like arrow heads?
I have made handles for knives. Antler, isn't really made for like the edge of a knife. You can get it fairly sharp if you grind it, grind it down, but it makes good handles rather than the actual knife point.
What was the smallest antler that you found?
I actually found the burr off an antler. I found that a couple times where a deer had broken off the main part of the antler and then shed the burr in the spring, which is the bottom part, just the little rosette that sits on their head. I found actually a couple like that, and then I have found some, antlers that are like 2 inches long too. So you kind of just have to step on those.
Do you
You know, I would probably make like a little candle holder or something like that, or a centerpiece. Because that's a good, I actually do a video out there online on YouTube. I've got a few videos, but one is I have one that's making a cribbage board that's easy to follow, and there's also one making an antler candle holder. And making something like that teaches you how to put antlers together, and then it shows you how to connect them and how to balance them and all that. So if you wanted to do a single little project, that'd be a good YouTube to look at, and it makes a nice little, beautiful little candle holder.
What's the smallest thing you've made?
Probably this. No, I do a lot of, I sell a lot of bottle openers. I also sell little keychains. I make necklaces, little bitty stuff. So yeah, I kind of do whatever sells, and I've got tons of scrap antler from making things, so I try to use it all up. So I've got a lot of little pieces and things like that I try to make things with, so I do try to make a lot of little stuff.
Where do you store your antlers?
I'm just in my garage, and then I've got an extra shed that I stack them up, and I try to lay them out by species and size and things like that, so it keeps them organized.
Wait, do you think you can make like a sculpture of like a bone or something? I mean, like I'm fine.
I still didn't understand your question.
Can you make a sculpture of like an animal?
Sure, yeah, you could, yeah. I do some actually barbed wire sculptures that I play with barbed wire a little bit too, which is kind of fun.
Did you ever try making a toothbrush out of
I could make a toothbrush handle for you. All right, I think there's one over here, yeah?
If you had a choice, what would be one item you would sell for?
Probably the floor lamp I make. It's like it's just something, everyone I make is like, that thing is awesome. So it's kind of fun to do, so. Yes?
Is it difficult to cut an antler?
Nope, it cuts pretty easy just with a good saw. Yeah, it doesn't splinter like bone. It's kind of a dense material on the outside, and the inside is soft. So when you're drilling it out, it's pretty easy to drill the inside. But it's fairly structural, so it's really strong. Because you can imagine, I've got some elk that are locked together, but these critters fight with these antlers, and they weigh 600 to 1,000 pounds, and they're pushing each other around with these big antlers. So it's strong stuff. So it's a great material to work with. How are we doing on time? Oh, it's 11. So, any other last questions? Oh, over here. I have actually. I killed a bull one time, a nice one, and I've got a few nice bulls, just heads on the wall and stuff at home. But I thought, you know what? I want to make myself a floor lamp to keep for myself, and so I cut the antlers off this bull and made it into a floor lamp, and it's something that I cherish. I have it in my house, so I'll never sell it. So it's kind of neat. Yes. Not really. Some years in the summer I'll sell lamps. Other years I sell a lot of candle holders. You just never know what's going to sell. So I make a wide variety of things. And I think that's true of the art market. You gotta have a variety of things, and then you're going to find your niche, what sells and what doesn't, and then that may change from year to year. So that's something to consider in your careers. You may want to try a few different things, and then But let me just finish up, because I just want to say, you guys, when you're thinking about careers, or whatever, follow your passion. If you do like getting out in the woods, just try to do something. It makes it easy in life to do something that's fun for you. So that's my suggestion. Thanks. Okay.